beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed online and at the cinema. From the kids who don't want to go to Camelot because it is a silly place, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Helena.
I'm
And I'm Madeline.
I'm Maddie.
Surprise!
Special guest
Madeline!
Hi, Madeline.
Hello!
Not actually a surprise. I texted you while we were recording the end of the last episode.
On air, I love it.
Reply back from you while we were
I'm
so
ashamed
everybody
to
knows.
admit I have not listened to the most recent one yet. I'm embarrassingly behind. So
That's okay. Neither have
I. I know. You were supposed to be my brother.
Within our own home.
That's what they all say. I don't legally have to.
You legally don't have to listen to them.
I do have to.
Emotionally, transitionally.
Well,
at any rate, thank you.
Equivocally. Yes, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much
for
having me.
Yes.
Yeah,
a pleasure. We're really happy to
My
have
pleasure.
you.
I'm super stoked to be here.
So, first order of business, Madeline, I would love you as our guest to pick your fighter.
Yeah. Yes, so...
it's my
because
bit.
this is not a podcast with slides. We're going to have to describe this process for you.
Unfortunately, the task still sometimes falls to me to make the Google Doc, and that's the reason why sometimes you get little Easter eggs. The only difference is that, and I also get to name the Google Doc, so this week it's, I dropped me sword in me anvil. And then choose your fighter. I have pictures of 4 different Arthurs here. One of whom is Arthur, played by Graham Chapman, I believe, from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The second here is Merlin, not Merlin, Arthur as played by Bradley James on the BBC show Merlin. Arthur as voiced by Pierce Brosnan and who knows who does the singing voice in The Quest for Camelot, and this model photo shoot of whoever the hell this is again. What's his name?
Charlie Hunnam.
Thank you. From King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword.
Charlie Hunnam.
There's one for each of us here if we each want to pick our fighter.
Yeah.
It took me the whole watch through of Quest for Camelot to realize that was Pierce fucking Brosnan.
Yeah, it is. That cast is wild.
I never would have known if I hadn't looked up on IMDb beforehand.
Nuts.
Yeah.
It's an insane cast.
Powerfully 90s.
The one that is not, hugely famous, but that you may recognize, Maddie and I had a kick talking about this when we watched Quest for Camelot, I don't know, a month ago. Kaylee, the main female character, protagonist of the story, is voiced by Mrs. Schuster from Glee.
Huh? What? Huh? Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, give me a second. You're gonna hear some clicking on my keyboard in a minute.
I was just saying, I just reached out to try to Google seriously what the fuck you're talking about, and then remember that my my internet is so bad right now that it's forcing me to work offline on the Google Doc.
Oh my god, it is.
It's okay. It's okay.
It is.
Wait, hang on.
It's her.
It's her.
God.
It's real. I just never knew her name. That's so bad of me because she was also on Vikings, a show that I have she was on the first couple of seasons, and I watched that show through 2 or 3 times. And I definitely
we've met you. Even if I didn't know that, I would know that.
So I definitely should know her name. I feel like. Okay, well...
I still don't. I just know she played Mrs. Schuster.
I mean, it's very hard to... It doesn't roll off the tongue. It's not Carrie Ellis. Oh, Eric Idle. Oh, Celine Dion, which I totally knew without even having to look it up.
Yep.
Because she did that thing where she was
she was great in Vikings.
Oh, yeah, just Slim Gilsig, yeah. That's her name.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not her, not Celine Dion in Vikings, which would have been amazing. But yeah, just
God, can you imagine?
Would have been very good. Celine Dion does that for some reason it's a Canadian thing, because Avril Lavigne does it too, and I can't describe it, but it's a very distinct thing that they both do in their singing voices, and I heard it and I was like...
It's very in the throat. It's throaty.
Yes. I did the John Mulaney thing. Like, is that Celine Dion? And,
It sure is.
Sure was. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Well.
Anyway, I'm sorry for already the diversion, but the diversion to the diversion of choosing our fighters.
Yeah, Madeline, choose yourself a boy. We got a whole selection of boys here just for you.
They all have swords.
All of them have swords.
Some of them got them from stones. Some of them got them from lakes. I love them all. Yeah, truth.
Some of them got them from both.
But you had to know going into this that my answer was going to be united we stand, now and forever.
Yeah. Helen and I both were like, I think we know how this is going to play out, and I'm excited to go through it afterwards. And
sorry for blowing the mic out on that. It's definitely Pierce Brosnan's King Arthur from Quest for Camelot.
Z, do you have a preference?
Yeah. I, as someone who owns the box set of Monty Python, the TV series, which I bought, I borrowed $20 from my late grandmother to buy still in the shrink wrap from someone's garage sale when I was like 14 or something ridiculous that.
Good.
And a movie which I realized in doing sort of prep work for this episode that, amusingly enough, 2 of the King Arthur figures on this little quadrant have the distinction of being from movies which I first saw at a sleepover with my one weird evangelical Christian friend from middle school, whose dad I was scared of, which is Quest for Camelot and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be Graham Chapman.
That's very funny.
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, et cetera, et cetera. Women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
It might be better than what we have now, though.
I mean, at this point, I'm willing to give it a try.
At this point.
Well, Maddie?
Yeah. Well, we are left with Bradley James and Charlie Hunnam, and I feel like you and I virtually are looking each other in the eye.
We all know how this is.
Seeing each other. And
we all know what's happening here.
We know exactly how. Split this Kit Kat down the middle. I'm taking Charlie Hunnam and you're taking Bradley James.
That's how it's going
no matter
down.
which way we slice it, that's how it's going to... Yeah. I'm 4
for 4.
Helena.
I was pretty much like...
What were your bets?
He's going to take Monty Python. Maddie's going to go for Charlie Hunnam down here. Yeah. Raleigh Beckett. I'm obviously going to pick my boy. My stupid boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only beardless Arthur on this list.
Pity that. And
can
Madeline's gonna... Yes, he can. I have seen
it. I think he can now, but, could he at the time is the question.
I hate to criticize my sweet boy, but I have seen him
He's beautiful.
with the beard, and it didn't...
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing,
It's not his best look. Okay.
He tried. He
has a nice nose. I have to admit, he's not my type, but he has a nice nose.
He's very, very nice in the first couple of seasons, especially because his teeth are still wonky, and he's very young and and I'm Arthur.
I would kiss his mouth with my mouth if he asked me to.
Yeah.
I also like that these are 4 different stages in the Arthur metamorphosis. This is 4 different parts in his lifetime, which is kind of fun. Though I guess Quest for Camelot and Monty Python are probably similar ages.
Different
I feel like Monty Python Arthur has just seen a lot more literal human poop than Quest for Camelot Arthur.
That's always, I feel like,
Quest for Camelot.
Graham Chapman. Because as he was always cast as the heroes, in what is this? No, somebody added a picture.
Did you just delete our boys?
I added an
Well, it wasn't the person whose internet doesn't work.
I added an Arthur clenched fist meme. We were talking about Arthurs.
I'm taking a screenshot of this, and I'm going to use this as the cover image for this episode.
Anyway, before shit went to hell, Graham Chapman always being cast as the hero, as in Life of Brian. He just kind of does have that expression on his face of having seen, as you put it, literal human poop.
Yes.
That man has just seen a lot of shit hit a lot of fans.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Gay icon.
Yeah.
So
we've chosen our fighter, and we can go into this episode with that level of confidence that each of our fighters have.
We can enter the joust. We have our champions.
Yeah. It's time to enter the list.
Oh my god.
Does each have a Merlin? I know that two of these guys have Merlins.
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
I would like to Bagsy the protagonist of T.A. Barron's Lost Years of Merlin series. Because I was obsessed with those as a preteen.
Excellent pick. Madeline, can I fight you for Quest for Camelot Merlin? Because I fucking love how evil he looks.
I will cede him to you.
Great. Thank you. He looks so evil. I need to find a photo of him.
He's like the evil.
I know we've all seen it, but I just need everyone to see him again.
I would like to take bumbling Sword in the Stone Merlin. I love him and his pink boxers.
Fantastic.
Oh, God bless.
I will take both the Merlin that I have as well as Crystal Cave Merlin.
Oh, valid.
If we're taking literary Merlins as well. While Maddie looks for a picture of evil hot Merlin voiced by Sir John Gielgud, we want to talk about what we've seen?
Yeah!
Alright. Let's see.
I think you're up first, babes.
So let's see. Since we last recorded, I have seen, I typed it really fucked up in this Google Doc. I typed Wolfwalkers? Don't know what's up there. Anyway, I saw Wolfwalkers, which is a new animated movie from Cartoon Saloon that did Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. It's one of their Irish mythology, like unofficial trilogy animated films about Irish mythology. And this one is about wolfwalkers, who are people who can turn into wolves and guard the wolves in the forest. And it's about this young English girl who moves to an Irish, what do you call it? Not a protectorate, but they have a governor and everything, and the English build a fort there, and they're basically clearing
colony?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. And thank you, Z. And her father is like a really good hunter, and he's voiced by Sean Bean, so he's been put in charge of hunting the wolves because they want to clear the forest. To expand the colony. He's extremely good in it.
When is Sean Bean gonna play King Arthur?
You know
what? Thank you for speaking the truth.
I wonder if that could happen for him now, because he's done so many sword and sorcery movies at this point that people will think it's too, even though they'd be wrong.
I think if the script's right, it could still happen.
But I would hope so, because everybody knows that he looks good with the chin-length hair, middle parted, and a sword, which not everybody does.
And I just want an Arthur.
Him look good, and we should say it.
An Arthur with his accent too, to be quite honest.
Oh yeah.
I have something to say about that when we get to Quest for Camelot.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah. We have a lot of yelling about. Presumably about the British class system, among other things, and depictions of King Arthur.
Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. So, Wolfwalkers. And so there's a girl who's there with her father, and she wants to be a hunter like her dad, and she meets this girl who's a wolfwalker. And it's very, very cute, and they help save the wolves, and I cried 5 times. The animation is stunning. Unfortunately, it's really hard to watch because it's an Apple TV exclusive. I won't tell you how I watched it. I didn't watch it through Apple TV.
And there's that on that.
I'm just going to say that the internet is a place of many wonders, and you can find many things on it if you know the right words to type. And you don't have to type in riddles, you just have to type out what you want. That's a beautiful thing. So see Wolfwalkers if you can. It's very, very good. I also watched Clute, which is a movie from the 70s with Donald Sutherland and Jane Fonda. That was very good. She's very hot in it, of course. Not that that's the point, but she is. I just want to say she's also very good acting-wise in it. I saw The River, Jean Renoir's The River from the 50s, which was really fun. The roommates and I watched Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage.
A cinematic classic, nice. I would argue.
Cinematic classic. Well, I mean... Look, there's some... I really respect Nicolas Cage for really wanting to be a Ghost Rider and for basically changing his name to Nicolas Cage because he admired Luke Cage, the comic book character, as a kid so much. Like, I respect so much his genuine love for superheroes and wanting to do this thing. And he is like, you know, he's good in it. He's Nicolas Cage good in it. And it's just that, like, not everybody... No, and Sam Elliott is very good in it. Just not everybody is up to his level. So I think if they brought the heat with some other elements of the plot and some other actors, it's just that he's so crazy. Nicolas Cage is so wild. And,
it's a bit like Tom Hardy in Venom, where no one else was just going as crazy as he was.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. Except for, like, Sam Elliott, who's, like, not going crazy. He's just, like, has his own personality, his own screen persona going on. So you're like, it's Sam Elliott.
I love him.
But it's Eva Mendes is the love interest. And it's just, like, she has a lack of personality, which is upsetting. And you need somebody who's just, like...
Also dialed up to 11.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's my main complaint with Ghost Rider. But it could have been a cinematic classic. It was on Netflix and we wanted to watch something stupid. So we did. And then I rewatched The Fall, which my roommates came into.
Actual
cinematic classic. My roommates came into it late to the beginning, and then they were like, holy shit, I want to watch this from the beginning. And I was like, haha.
Got another one.
Yes. Got him. And then I watched Minari, which is the new film by Lee Isaac Chung about a Korean-American family who moved to Arkansas from California because their dad wants to start a farm. And that is the movie that Steven Yeun is being nominated for across the board, like for Best Actor nominations. He's so good in it.
Oh, hell yeah.
The entire cast is like really lovely. The David Kim, who plays the boy, so it's like partly, I think, autobiographical from the director's standpoint, where he is like the little boy. And so David Kim plays his, or David Kim or Alan Kim? I have to look this up now really quickly. Boop, 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 boop.
Shout out to the 5 different dudes at my high school who were called David Kim, 3 of whom were called David S. Kim.
Alan Kim. There he is. Wow. Alan Kim. And actually his name is Alan S. Kim. So that's funny.
I felt so bad for, like, because people just, like, were assholes about it. And I'm like, oh my god.
Of course.
Like, half of you are called Jake. Calm down.
Yeah, get wrecked.
There were about, like, 10 Lucases in my third grade class. So I thought it was really lovely. I think it's... I think it might have dropped onto Hulu. As of today, or onto some kind of streaming service, which I will also check. I think everybody should watch it. It's really lovely. Look it up.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Quest for Camelot, I also rewatched, of course, partly in preparation for this episode. I watched that last night and tonight. So I ordered. Criterion was having a flash sale, and that's the only time I allow myself to buy anything from them, or when they offer me a discount, which they sometimes do. So I bought some Like It Hot, and now that I'm in New York, it ships faster, so I got it today, and I watched it today. I watched Some Like It Hot, and it was great. So that's what I've seen.
A good one. Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I literally cannot remember what I watched because I have appalling brain fog this evening. But I did make Hamantashen today.
You watched Winter Soldier, I know
the
that.
The picture looked amazing.
Watch what?
You watched Winter Soldier.
Yes! Oh, yeah, that was the big thing. It was like 2 days ago. Oh my god, my brain is just like, has gone on vacation.
That's alright.
I love those queer octogenarians.
Yeah, Leia and I rewatched Captain America: Winter Soldier, which I hadn't seen in a long time. Because I liked it a lot when it came out, and like right after Winter Soldier was when my Marvel hype fatigue got really bad. And I started just like furiously blocking everything related to the Marvel movies because I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. And so that was a really interesting exercise in a situation where I remembered the fandom output related to that movie way more clearly and comprehensively than I remembered the actual text of the film. Like
which is actually quite good.
It's very good. Like Winter Soldier is it's a good fucking movie. It's like a well executed political thriller.
Yeah.
And I think like there's some times where I wish the cinematography was better, just like overall, because I think a lot of the visuals are really like they work really well without, in the way that like, yeah, the visuals in like Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther and stuff work really well, but those are like moderately fantastical settings.
Yeah.
Right. And this is
they build
theoretically more the real world.
They build really good and interesting set pieces with just, like the freeways around Washington DC. And then, the camera work is like hopping around like somebody who's got like restless leg syndrome and also has had too much caffeine.
Yeah.
And it means that like sometimes like some of it's good, but some of it I'm like, can you please just stand in one place? I would like to appreciate the picture that you have made for me.
Yeah.
I would like to watch the baby-faced octogenarians be in big queer love with each other, please.
Like also, like, I was like, oh, I must be like, I must have been, like, remembering just the fandom hype about it.
About how gay it is?
Yes! It's really gay!
It is. On multiple levels.
Of the line.
Yeah, that movie is way more gay than I remembered it, and I'm really glad.
It's a big queer narrative, yeah.
I'm really glad that I can just, like, I went from, like, being enthusiastic about Marvel stuff to fucking hating Marvel stuff, and now I've come back around to this just, like, do I want to talk to anybody on the internet about it? No, but like, do I have a soft spot for some of it? Absolutely, and that's like a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Some
like where I am
Marvel
with the Star Wars sequels, where I just don't care that much anymore.
It's definitely one of the better Marvel movies. I just wish that
definitely
the Russo brothers were actually, as you mentioned with the camera work, actually good at directing movies. They're not like bad. They just have no style in the way that like Ryan Coogler does,
visual style.
Or even I know that you're not a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's like style in the way that James Gunn added to his movies, or like having a distinctive.
Guardians of the Galaxy looks good. That's not why it annoys the shit out of me.
Right.
That's the opposite problem, where Guardians of the Galaxy looks great and the content makes my eyeballs bleed. Winter Soldier has really good content and is just it's kind of like some of it's good and some of it's just filmed kind of like amateurishly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It also suffers from the MCU issue where sometimes it just has very boring, like, color grading. And actually, that's a movie where that works, actually.
Yes.
But I was going to say, for that political thriller element, it would be nice to have some scenes that have a little bit more to them.
Even just more contrast. I feel like sometimes it gets washed out. So normally the issue is it's too dark. In that movie, sometimes it's too bright in a way that makes it hard. Everything's just kind of grays.
Yeah. I think my experience of it, like, I still think it's one of the better ones. I feel like the last time I watched Winter Soldier, I watched it with my parents, and boy howdy, is it a different experience watching a Marvel movie with people who like don't care. If it is with people who do, and I was just like, oh, I'm not really enjoying this as much as I thought I would, even though like I like this movie. So I think it was my experience of it last time I watched it was definitely tainted it. But I still think it is one of the better ones.
Absolutely. My top three for sure.
Yeah.
Most Marvel movies, like, I don't think I would give half a fuck about them if I didn't have the like, I care about the Marvel fandom. I mean, most of it's awful, but, like, the good and like intellectually,
I care about the Marvel that's in my head.
Yeah, well, yeah, I care about the Marvel that's in my head, but also like the knowing that there is this sort of shadow world of like better and more thoughtful creative output that sort of piggybacks on the Marvel movies makes me like the Marvel movies more than I otherwise would.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. It's a really long way of saying, I assume I watched movies, but mostly I'm proud of myself for making Hamantaschen.
Yeah! Bring me some. I want them.
It's a really long way of saying that your memories got wiped of all the movies you watched, and then you went on a murder spree?
And made Hamantaschen.
With a metal arm?
Please just imagine me, like, staring at my, like, DVD shelf going, who the hell is Bucky?
You the hell is Bucky?
You the hell is Bucky?
You the hell
Why?
is Bucky?
Like,
the hell is Bucky?
I cannot believe that Sebastian Stan has made, like, half of his career playing, like, sad, either explicitly or implicitly gay, like...
He's a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, twinks.
Okay.
Boy knows where he's at.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's me. So I finally saw the half of it. I was hanging out with my roommate and one of her friends who we've been seeing because she's just like works at home. Came over right before everything happened here, and like everybody's power went out, and we were like, I don't know what we want to watch, and I was like, can we watch the half of it? Like, I feel like we'll like that, and we really enjoyed it.
Yay!
I thought it was like a good, satisfying ending. I felt like, you know, there were moments where I was like, oh god, but like the movie really paid off. I was very happy with it, really enjoyed it, and then right after the movie ended, our power flickered, and we were like, oh, that's funny, and then the next morning our power went out.
Oh god.
So, like, fate and the heavens and the snow held on to be like, all right, you queers, you can watch the half of it. And then it was like, all right, I'm done. I'm out of here. And then our Wi-Fi went out for, like, 3 days. So.
Oh my god.
I'll do it for Alice Wu, but no one else.
No one else!
Yep.
So thank you. I missed 2 days of work, but at least I got to see the half of it. And then in preparation for this episode, I rewatched King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, which is that 2017 movie with the Arthur that I picked as my fighter.
That's just, I feel like our podcast like somehow just spiritually like owns that movie.
Yes, because I was gonna say this was I think right before you left town, Z.
It was the night before I left Portland. It was the last thing.
The three of us rolled out to go see that movie and like got Taco Bell, I think, and like went to go see that movie, and it was right when we were still talking about Sneople as when it was going to be articles, when it was going to be a website.
Yeah.
And I was joking that one of my column was going to be in defense of the genre, and it was going to be like bad movies that I thought were worth it. And The Legend of the Sword was going to be my first piece. Like weirdly that movie ended up being kind of like I associate it with Sneople in like a very very affectionate way. And like
that's so lovely.
Yeah, rewatching it was very fun. Like once again, I like watching it, I'm like, God, this movie kicks tremendous amounts of ass, and I think is like not a good Arthurian adaptation.
It's absolutely not. But also, fucking Aidan Gillen is just over here playing a dude
hot.
whose name is Goose Fat Bill, and he absolutely has a crush on Arthur, who is like two-thirds of his age tops.
Yeah, it's incredible. That movie doesn't like women very much. I'll say that. Rewatching it, I was like, this movie doesn't like women very much, does it? Jude Law, sexy as fuck.
God, I love him.
The soundtrack, so good. It's a Guy Ritchie movie, and I would say it's one of the Guy Ritchie movies that like really has his style before he started making things that I didn't like as much.
It's one of the last great Guy Ritchie films.
Yeah, I would say it's a really fun movie.
The last of the real ones.
Yeah, that has like a really strong style, and like I think is like it's not like good as in it's a good movie, but it's good as in it's like like knows what it's doing and goes fucking ham on the thing that it's doing and like pulls it off. You know?
Yeah.
I love a thing that knows what it's setting out to do and does it
super well, even if that particular thing is not necessarily a good movie. So
right.
So there's that. And then I watched King Arthur 2004 today, which was like, once again, I think it's hard for me to like, was that a good movie? I think it had things about it that were really...
Did it rule, though?
Yeah, it ruled. I think it had things about it that were really good.
Fuck
I think it was, like, an interesting interpretation of Arthurian myth. There was a moment at the beginning where I was like, I don't know where this movie is trying to take me. And then it had some interesting things to say, and I was like, okay, like, I buy what you're trying to tell me. I buy...
You watched the director's cut,
I did,
right?
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just was gonna say my best friend Haley swears by the director's cut, which I still have not actually seen. So I was curious.
I would watch it again. I think there's like I bought the relationship between Arthur and his knights. One of the core concepts is that Arthur was born to a Roman father. I guess we can get into this when we actually get the episode, but his knights were like native Britons who are like taken from their homes as part of a pact with the Romans. So they're like not necessarily like free men, but you could tell that like he is like fighting for them to be free and like loves them and they love him. So even if they're like fuck Rome, that's not the point. They're like, we care about this man because he cares about us, which I thought was really compelling.
Aww.
And Keira Knightley is hot.
I need to watch this
that.
movie. You all know what face I'm making right now.
Yeah. See, I think you specifically would really enjoy it. I got very big the Eagle vibes. I think we should watch it. And then I watched Great Mouse Detective right afterwards. I was like, I want to put something else on.
God bless.
I'm going to watch the Great Mouse Detective. Always fun. Always a good time. And then Madeline and I have been watching Clone Wars. We've been kind of picking our way through, and we are close to being done with Season 3. And I think that's a good lead-in for Madeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maddie and I have been slowly but surely making our way through the animated Clone Wars. We're both big Star Wars nerds, notable. And neither of us had ever finished it, even though it's very highly regarded in the Star Wars fan community, and Dave Filoni's a blessing. And that's been absolutely fabulous. Stoked to do more of that.
We got some crazy plot shit last time, and you and I were both like, oh, fuck!
Yes!
Oh!
It's happening!
Yeah, it was sick.
Oh, my waveform just got so big.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, I watched that, and then on a further Star Wars note, my roommate Caitlin she's seen bits and pieces of a lot of Star Wars movies, but never sat down and just like done Star Wars. So we've been watching them. Since she hadn't done them, we eventually decided on release order mostly. We're not sure where we're gonna... Well, we watched the original trilogy and then we went back and watched the prequels, so I just watched Revenge of the Sith, which is always an experience, and I there are things in that movie that are great. Mm-hmm. The overall story arc that happens there is so important, and in my opinion, it is so poorly executed, namely with the character assassination of Padme Amidala, which I will never forgive. Literally never forgive.
Madeline, when we reboot
I will die
Star
mad
Wars,
about that.
We'll fix it.
When we reboot Star Wars, the good Star Wars that lives in our heads, we will fix it.
I feel like every Star Wars fan is simultaneously like, I love Star Wars, and also I'm going to die mad about Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is the Star Wars fan experience, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so watched that. Haley and I watched a bunch of Nadia Bakes episodes, which is up on Netflix now. Nadia from Great British Bake Off.
Her.
So
Favorite.
Cheerful and lovely. I adore her. Literally through all of the episodes, I would just be like, I just love her so much. Like every 30 seconds, it was
like
great.
The one time when on the final of a Great British Bake Off, where like her final speech as the credits are rolling has actually made me like cry.
Yes.
She was like,
I cry every time I see it.
I can believe in myself
you.
now, and I'm like, yeah, you can because you're great.
I'm never gonna tell myself I can't.
Yeah. I love her.
I love
her so much.
I love her so much. Nadia, if you're listening.
Nadia, if you're listening, come on the show. We'll talk about whatever you want.
Nadia, if you're out there. Yeah, and then to prep for this episode, I'd watched Quest for Camelot pretty recently and own it on DVD and watch it regularly. But I also
so you came prepared.
Yes. But then in keeping with the kind of children's movie side of things, I was curious about, I rewatched Sword in the Stone, which I haven't seen in years, so that was really fascinating. And then I also rewatched from my preteen favorite list, Kid in King Arthur's Court, which is pretty bad, but does notably feature Kate Winslet and Daniel Craig in this amazing courtly love thing that is happening.
What?
Parts of it good. Like, it is worth, it's on Disney Plus if you have that, or it's other places also if you don't. And it is worth it for that.
Madeline, is this gonna be like a Lady Hawk thing where you say, I have a nice movie I want to show you, and then we're all lying on the couch emotionally destroyed because of courtly love stuff?
No, because Lady Hawk good. Okay.
Madeline, when are you going to screen Lady Hawk again when I can actually see it?
Good question. Soon. I'm so glad that, we need to Lady Hawk, please. I love it so much. And it fits in with our big Arthuriana, big courtly love vibes. No, it is campier than that for sure. Okay. But the love story that happens in the background between... Because the A plot is this Little League baseball player who gets zapped back to King Arthur's Court, loosely based on Mark Twain's satirical novel A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, but it's a Little League player.
Holy shit. I just saw the picture of Daniel Craig's haircut.
It's bad. It's good. It's good and it's bad.
Give me a second. Continue, Madeline. Sorry.
No, it's great. What's delightful about it, so they do this BS bit where, King Arthur is like old King Arthur at this point, but he hasn't actually done that much yet, so the kid's like, where's the round table, where's the knights, and has to kickstart some stuff happening, which I have mixed feelings about as a armchair Arthuriana enthusiast. But the cool part is a lot of the action follows the king's two daughters, Kate Winslet and another woman whose name I don't remember, who was actually very good, and so the younger sister befriends this Little League kid, and we see all these shots of her like training with him to be a knight. She keeps kicking his ass. It's great. And so then of course she gets kidnapped and can't do anything to help herself, and it's like, are you kidding me? You built this up this whole time. But then, big spoiler alert, big movie spoiler alert, I'm saying it now for this movie that no one cares about that came out in the 90s.
Hit me with it.
So throughout the movie, there's this person called the Black Knight that has been riding around and like giving food to the peasants who are starving because Arthur is under the influence of this guy who's like stealing from the peasants and it's bad.
Sexy.
And Kate Winslet's plot is that she is in love with Daniel Craig, who does not have any land holdings, so he can't marry her, and she's refused everyone who has made an offer to her, and she's turning 21, so there's going to be a joust to determine who can marry the princess, and he's not going to be able to compete because he doesn't have land holdings, he can't do it. So things happen, the king comes around, he's like, anyone can compete in the joust that I'm still holding to determine who will win my daughter's hand, which is like, really, you couldn't just, okay, fine. So he gets to compete in the joust, but he gets knocked out, bad stuff happens, the Black Knight shows up to save the day, and the king is like, okay, the Black Knight wins it, undo your helmet, and like, show me who you are, and you've won my daughter's hand in marriage, and you think at first that it's gonna be Daniel Craig, but it's not, and then you're like, maybe it's the sister, maybe she could do all that cool fighting. No, while we have never seen our leading love interest here pick up a sword or anything, incredible reveal, she pulls off her helmet, she's the Black Knight, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna marry myself. And it's like, oh!
I love it.
Except she's like, but actually I'm gonna marry Daniel Craig, but...
But whatever.
Big sexy.
It's really dope. It was a very good ending.
I am gonna watch this movie, unfortunately, so...
It's sad that we have to watch this movie now.
I feel like that explanation and your enthusiasm for that is just like, I'm thinking about like child Madeline going, yeah, I understand. This is one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
No, yeah.
Yes.
That tracks.
All the pieces are falling together.
Yeah, it does fit, doesn't it? I'm flattered.
I'd like to say off the bat as we get into our King Arthur episode that this is secretly our way of trying to speed up the release of Gawain and the Green Knight.
God, please.
We are calling it into fruition. we have made prophecies before and they have come true. So, like, you know, if we make a whole episode about it, it's got to happen sooner,
absolutely.
right?
I just want it so much.
There it is.
You know it's good when you can get a little hee out of me instead of a proper laugh.
This is so great because now when you, like, tonight when you add things to the Google Doc, it's like a time bomb because they don't come up for me immediately.
Oh, I put it in the Discord if that helps.
This was in the Discord, actually.
I did a little bit of graphic design is my passion. And anytime my course,
You can tweet it as a promo.
I'll send it back.
Yeah. I don't know why I was like, send it to me when it's
this
right here.
This was literally me in my first year.
So I would like to read
because I didn't make any friends my first year of college, even though I had people on the floor who I hung out with. I just mostly stayed in my room and watched season 3 of Merlin, which wasn't even a very good season. Anyway, continue.
No, but it has my husband in it, so that's what makes it good.
They're trying to give Daniel Craig fucking Carrie Elways and the Princess Bride hair, and it's not working.
They are, and it does not work. It doesn't work
not what
because
he's got
because the whole point of the hair in the Princess Bride is that that's his hair when he's baby, and then when he gets hot, he gets different hair.
Yeah, he gets to part his hair like an adult. Yeah,
it's the middle part versus side part.
They should have let this man push his hair back.
And Gen Z.
Yeah.
Dread part, Roberts.
Yeah, it's the bowl cut versus the pushback hair. Yeah. So I just want to say my jokes that I put in the Google Doc, which is all caps Arthurian Legends we gave for him.
Yeah.
And then the alternative title is Oi Mister, you be Merlin.
You be Merlin.
I couldn't even fucking say it without laughing.
This is a spin-off of my joke, which I lent to you as your new Twitter username, where we were just saying,
Oi, Mister, you be once a future king.
I got that because when I started rewatching Quest for Camelot yesterday, I was very struck by how you have all of these knights singing this song about truth, justice, liberty, and I was like, yes, and they're all very posh and have, even Pierce Brosnan, who's Irish, have very posh English accents, and then Rupert comes in, who's obviously evil, has a terrible haircut and a twitching eye, and he's like, I want me lands, what can I have me lands? And it's like, oh, you're the one Cockney knight. I wonder which one of you is going to be evil.
Bad.
And so I just started joking in the Discord about, oi, mister, you me once and future king, which is a terrible, terrible thing to say.
So good.
You've got Oi Gov, you pulled the sword out of stone, innit? And then underneath you've got me in all caps, Oi Mister, you be king.
So good.
So any followers,
so good.
And any listeners we have in the UK, just stop listening and
we're sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we would like to formally apologize.
But the Oi Mister, you be dad doll is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I'm,
Yeah. I would say
anyway.
Oi Mister.
I would say yes, I am gay for Arthurian Legends.
Yes, we gave for him.
As I put in the doc, well, first Maddie wrote, Madeline says yes, Arthurian Legends we gave for them. Madeline says yes, so case closed. But also, I'm allowed to say fuck words on this podcast,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, you're allowed to say the big F words.
Great.
I marked this podcast as explicit. So
perfect. So as I said, monster fucking is inherently queer, and what is the tale of Gawain and the Green Knight if not monster fucking?
You know, when you're right, you're right.
Which one I just said, God's so true.
Madeline
just
like
the microphone.
finishing her dissertation defense, and everybody just starts clapping.
Thank you. And then I skateboarded out.
Yeah. You just pop your Heelys and go down the hallway.
I did get to take a very cool Arthurian lit class in college.
Oh, nice.
I am far from being an expert. I am an armchair enthusiast for sure. But it was a very fascinating class to get to take.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I'm really interested in what you...
Yeah, me too.
What your required reading was and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I have it in a box downstairs. Not boxed because I want them away, but boxed because in the house that I'm in right now, there's not room for my 27 banker boxes of books to all be out on the shelf.
Fair.
But I had a really cool professor who talked us through, I think mostly chronologically, a lot of the really seminal Arthurian texts. We didn't I don't believe we got to Once and Future King, which doesn't show up till like the 50s, because that is basically a reimagining of Le Mort d'Arthur, the big French collection of, well, actually, I think he might have been British. The title's French, obviously, but a big collection of French takes and other takes on it. But so Arthuriana comes from old Welsh legends. And so, sorry, words are hard. Arthuriana comes from old Welsh legends and then was adapted by various people. The first person to put it down that we have record of in writing is Geoffrey of Monmouth, who wrote about King Arthur in his History of the Kings of Britain, which was taken as a actual historical listing of kings for a very long time, but is almost entirely complete bullshit. He's collecting, you know, stories and tales and things, and it honestly, that one's a very dull read. It reads a lot like a Bible list of so-and-so begat so-and-so begat so-and-so, and then every once in a while there's a dope story in there, and he's like, but that doesn't matter, let's talk about begetting some more. Thanks, Jeffrey. And then it spins out into other stuff, the Vulgate cycle, and there's a lot of like French chivalric tradition starts pulling on it. So it goes from being very Welsh to, you know, the Celts, and then England and Christianity gets pulled into it, obviously with things like the Grail quest, and makes its way to France, where the big French romance tradition comes into it and really emphasizes a lot of Lancelot and Guinevere, and that becomes, I mean, it's always been there, but it becomes really cornerstone, right? And then Le Mort d'Arthur collects like all of that into one big narrative, obviously through, you know, anyone who's collecting these stories is going to be doing it with putting their own lens on it, right? But tried to weave them together into one big narrative, and it's kind of like moved on from there. But so that's sort of the breadth of what we got to cover, which was very interesting. And then at the end of the class, we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. She was like, I love this movie. They did so much research, and genuinely you watch it and like they characterize the knights so carefully. Everyone is so spot on. These minor characters, it is delightful.
Well, yeah, I think that's partly because somebody on the Python team, I believe it is, I'm blanking on the name right now, one of the Terrys, but not Terry Gilliam, the guy who does the animations for the movie, and for all the Python stuff.
Who does the monks.
Yeah, I believe he is an actual, like, Arthurian, not scholar, but he did some of the same, I at least did some of the classes that Terry Jones, I believe. And
yes, I would completely buy that, yeah.
Let me look that up. I wonder if it has anything about that.
Fun fact, the History of the Kings of Britain, the Geoffrey of Monmouth one, also includes the story of King Lear, and in the Geoffrey of Monmouth version, Cordelia lives and becomes this badass queen, and I had read that more recently than the Shakespeare, and then went to go see a Shakespeare play, and so had completely forgotten that in Shakespeare's version she dies, and so it came to the death scene, and I was like, oh no,
Oh no! That's one of the few things that Merlin did well at the very end, BBC Merlin, I mean, was make Guinevere queen.
God, fuck yes.
True.
Still.
They did a lot of my excitement around Arthuriana in general is the fact that it is so many generations of these stories and these retellings, and the way that, it's one of those stories that everyone has touch points on. And so you can do a retelling that is so layered and in conversation with things, like tweak things in a way that means something that they wouldn't mean if it was the first time that story was being told, you know? And I do think that is something that Merlin does very well right from the beginning, because the core of the Arthurian story is the goodness at the heart of Arthur, and how he is not just by blood right king, but deserving of ruling because he's the people's king. He is, you know, he's the great uplifter, right?
Okay, not to derail this, but that's the that's the difference between Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings books and the story arc that they have for him in the movie, where he has the right, but he has to prove that he's the right choice also.
Oh, I love that. That's delightful. I'm sure it was inspired by Arthuriana.
I mean, how could it not be?
Right. Well, and so I love that. Sorry, I was just going to say that I love that in Merlin, right at the beginning, the first time that we see Arthur, he's being a massive dick. And that wouldn't, like, if the rest of that canon was not there, it would just be like, oh, great, shitty royal, cool, let's deal with this. But instead, there's all this weight of how are we going to get from this shitty teenager to this man that all of these people would lay their lives down for in a minute. You know?
I really wish that they had fully followed through with that, because you definitely get... I definitely feel like, as somebody who shockingly, so one of the other things that I watched in quote unquote preparation for this episode, was I watched an episode of Merlin for the first time in 7 years, and I have seen every episode, but I was going through on Netflix, all the different seasons, and I swear to God, after season 2, I'm just like, what happens in this? What happens in this? Oh, that's where we meet Gawain. That's cool. What happens in this?
Okay.
How did we get here? I don't remember. I there's so much of it that even though I definitely watched it and definitely did episode summaries on Tumblr for season 5, I don't remember what happens. But because it just didn't, a lot of it did not stick. There's some really interesting Fisher King stuff that they did in season 3.
Love a Fisher King.
Yeah, that's the episode with
Gawain.
This is my most watched Merlin episode, because it introduced the interesting dynamic between the three of them, and then they were just like, anyway, so we're never going to talk about that literally ever again, despite it being fairly compelling, and Gawain is going to become a really boring side character.
It's like what happens to
really
Ron in the Harry Potter movies, where it's like, so now his character personality is he eats. And that's his whole personality.
Sir eats a lot.
And you're like, but what about the strength, courage, magic thing that you just talked about? Oh, we didn't mean that. We were lying. We said that. You said, huh?
We said what?
And I was like, no, you said strength, courage. What? No, I didn't. You're breaking up in mine. So that's my relationship with the Merlin writers. So I do think that season 3 is where, even though the first couple of seasons, don't get me wrong, can be extremely cringy, now especially, season 3 is where the ball was proverbially dropped, because season 2 had a lot of really good, really strong episodes with Sins of the Father, and where fucking Arthur almost kills his dad, and it's like, hell yes, go off. It's the one with Fires of Hideous where Merlin poisons Morgana and she leaves with Morgause, and then Last Dragon Lord, where Merlin meets his father, and it's that's the episode that I watched, where I watched most of was the season 2 finale, and it was for a Merlin episode it was good, because John Patrick Lynch, I believe is his name, is playing Balinor, Merlin's father, and he's really good in it, and Colin Morgan is just so precious the entire time, because he didn't know, he literally in the span of 45 minutes learns who his dad is, meets his dad, is disappointed by his dad, is not disappointed by his dad, and is looking forward to a future with his dad, a la Sirius Black, and then has to watch his dad die, and then he can't even properly grieve him because he can't let Arthur know that he's his dad.
Right.
And it sucks. And Colin Morgan is just there 100% of the time.
He's so good.
100% commitment. And it makes me, it was making me feel stuff, despite several times over the episode going oh God, is that really dialogue that somebody had to say? Is that really a dragon that you made out of special effects?
Now, the subject of Merlin's parentage in general is actually very interesting, because when Monmouth, not Merlin on BBC Merlin, but him in a canon of all the Merlins, so him included, when Monmouth sort of built Merlin, or compiled Merlin from various sources and things, and was like, yes, this is definitely one figure, here it is, it's Merlin. The original storyline was that he was like the child of an incubus and he had demon powers, and then that got further Christianized to like, but don't worry, he was supposed, it's this like, it sounds like a supernatural plotline, honestly. It's like, well, he was supposed to be the Antichrist, but he got blessed at birth, so we got around it, so he has the Antichrist powers, but he's good because he loves Jesus.
All right.
Okay then.
Which is fascinating. And so like you start with this, like the earlier figures of Merlin are these like weird demon people, and then it like turns into that, like that eventually leads into this like, you know, the dark side and lighter sides of Merlin, the good and evil warring
just
within
like
him.
Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, big mood. Mm-hmm. And then the magic turns into the like, he had like soothsaying and foresight, right? And so then that eventually turns into the like, but does he live backwards? But is he time traveler? What is he? You know?
Well, so in Merlin, it's like there's this vague last Dragon Lord powers, right? And Balinor's one of them. When Uther was like, I hate all magic people, he sent them all away, and then he sent people to kill him. Gaius was like, here, stay here in this one place with my niece or whatever, whoever she is. And that was Merlin's mom, and he stayed with her, and then Uther hunted him down, and he didn't know he had a son. So that's like fine and whatever. That's not really, like, it's somewhat based in the idea, in the legends, with the idea of like, there's this guy, he's like, he inherited his magic, right? I think, like...
Right, from someone who's no longer there.
Yes, because also, like, he doesn't have his Dragon Lord powers, and then once his father dies, he does. It's just, like, that's sad. In the Crystal Cave series, the Mary Stuart series, Crystal Cave and Hollow Hills, and whatever the third one is that I can't remember at the moment, there is, like, his father is, he's actually Arthur's uncle, Ambrosius, who's the brother of Uther. So that's how, like, Merlin is related to Arthur, which I know is in some of the legend, but not all of... I mean, is that complicated, like, related to whom stuff, like the way that Arthur is related to Morgana, which changes from adaptation to adaptation.
Right. Well, and then is Morgana the same character as Morgause, or are they different? That changes like, too.
Oh my god. The Last Enchantment is the third book in it. Yeah, so in that series, it's like, he's a bastard, and that's also sort of where the idea of him being the spawn of the devil comes from, because it's like, he doesn't know who his parents are, or he doesn't know, you know, who his dad is, and sometimes there's like, and he has visions, so there's evil things that contribute to that come from him being a bastard, which sucks. But that's kind of where
God, stand up for bastards.
Madeline. That's a good speech.
Does anybody remember they did all those Shakespeare like little videos for the 2012 London Olympic. Yep.
Yes.
Everybody stop what you're doing and go listen to Riz Ahmed doing the Stand Up for Bastard speech, because it fucking whips.
I adore
God, he's so good. Anyway, pardon me.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's from King Lear. If you Google like Riz Ahmed King Lear, you can find it.
Yeah.
I'm just free associating wildly this evening.
No, you're very good.
Oh, it's good. I'm just ranting on tangents about exciting Arthuriana.
If we want to talk about really exciting adaptations, do we want to talk about Quest for Camelot? Right. Because I did take notes.
Boy, do I. Oh my god, I love you so much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Do it. Go nuts. I, having literally just finished this movie like 3 minutes before we were supposed to start work. Actually, I think I had to stop during the like, and now they're knighting the dude whose name I'm about to fuck up again.
Gareth.
The problem is that everybody's accent makes that TH sound very short. So I was having a really hard time telling whether it was Garrett or Gareth. Anyway.
That's very fair.
Yeah, they were like knighting Gareth, and then I assumed they got married or whatever at the end. But,
yeah, they knighted Kaylee too.
Vaguely? Yeah, so they both get knighted. I'll watch that when we're done recording. And it's like vaguely implied that they got married. They ride off on a horse together, and it's got one of those signs on the butt that says "just knighted." Yeah. So it's kind of a goof on they just got married, but the more important part is they both just got knighted.
They just got knighted, and they're like, time to go be like fucking like a Jedi partnership or something.
Yes. Yeah, I
exactly.
love that they lean into the fact that they're like, yeah, we've made this like pseudo Disney princess character from this, random studio, but her happy ending is not marriage. Her happy ending is getting to go be a knight. And like, we're going to make the marriage parody joke here, but we're leaning into the fact that she gets her happy ending and it's knighthood.
Well, and they spend a lot of time like all of their like getting to know you stuff, or almost all of their like kind of combative to getting to know you stuff has to do with learning to like fight together effectively.
Yes.
Which is delightful. They're just like, battle couple, but for children. We love to see it.
Yeah. We do love to see it.
I like how, Madeline, you just referred to Warner Brothers as some random studio. That is a huge dunk. I love it. Rest to the end of the years. That makes so much more.
Helena, I want to hear your notes.
That's why.
Yeah, please.
That's why that show has so much Looney Tunes DNA.
That's what I was thinking. There is one single part of the movie, I believe, during the Dragon Song where they have a Wile E. Coyote background, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
So let's see my notes. Pretty short. Ruber is so obviously evil. Why is he Cockney when everyone else is posh? That's my first note. I have a small. So my thing with the animation is I do think that the scenery and the art direction is very good. I think there's a lot there, and I think that their use of CGI kind of whips. It's pretty rough.
Yeah. Are you going to say the faces? Because sometimes those faces don't look right. So the
character animation, I feel, is a little goofy. It's kind of lazy in that 90s way. It's not just a them thing. Like, it's I think pretty universal for a lot of 90s, early 2000s animation that didn't have as much money as Disney, where
it has Disney sequel faces.
Yeah, they're very overly animated, occasionally, in the case of Ruber, overly gesticulating, instead of, I was thinking I always compare it to Miyazaki, which is very restrained a lot of the times until they need to do something comic. But there's a lot of grace to how the characters move that's very believable. And so I just, there was just some stuff, man. Some of it was intentional. I feel like they did spend a lot of time with the dragons, which was good because there's a lot of physical comedy involved with that, so they obviously spent more time with them.
Yeah.
But I do think some of the character animation is a bit goofy. That's okay. They don't know how to animate people singing. That's fine. They clearly just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think
who among us does?
True.
Some people perfected
the guy,
it, but not them.
You know what's fucked? I just finally figured it out. Speaking of not knowing how singing works, Gareth, has an English accent. And then when he starts singing, he is very distinctly a 90s American Christian rock band singer.
I didn't even notice it.
He's suddenly very American.
That's very fair. In fairness, the difference between an English accent and an American accent when singing is much less. I do still think you're spot on, but I also feel like it makes sense, Helena, that you weren't like, I hear it.
No, that is true, but it is very American.
Oh man,
I didn't hear that but in my brain, listening back to it, I can totally hear that.
There are very obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I did write that down. Some Broadway actors in the Round Table cast, because you could tell from their truth. I was like, these are some theater actors.
You're like,
God love them.
Got one line.
The resonance.
Yeah.
And the where the resonance sits in the vowels and how crisp the consonants are. You're like, you learned to articulate for musical theater.
You played one of the many side characters in Company. I love you. I wrote,
I love the boys' song where they just talk about stuff they like.
Like truth, justice, and liberty.
So good.
Honor. Love is my bros.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
The cocktail with my friends.
It's like the 5 Sports Tumblr meme. The 5 Sports.
I did write in all caps how did he get this
memes.
technology, which I presume is referring to Ruber. Yeah. Did I miss it? Is it explained how he
ambiguously refers to I got this potion from some witches.
Yeah, he very he has one throwaway line where he's like, since I got thrown out of Camelot, which we haven't actually talked about the plot of this movie at all, I don't think.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No. A brief sidebar.
So,
Madeline, please.
Yeah, brief sidebar, the plot. This movie follows a girl named Kaylee. We start when she's a little kiddo. Her dad is a knight of the round table, and he has to go off and be there and tells her about how good Camelot is because it's all egalitarian. They live out in the outskirts on a farm. And he comes back, but he comes back dead, which is sad.
Because Rupert attempts to take over the throne, and he gives his life for King Arthur.
Yeah, and Arthur himself comes and presides over the funeral, and I have a lot of feelings about it, and, like, gives Kaylee's mom her husband's shield and is like, literally, anytime you want to come to Camelot, the gates are always open to you, which Rupert then uses against them later. But, so, flash forward, 10, 12 years later, and she's a young woman and wants to go off and be a knight, and her mom, bless her, is doing Maddie and I were talking about this a bunch, the movie protagonist mom thing, where she's like, no, be safe, but it is very much coming from this place of, like, you want this for the wrong reasons right now. You want glory and you want adventure, and that's gonna get you killed. And if you can, find the way to do this properly, I will support you. But no, I'm not gonna let you just run off. Are you kidding me? Which is lovely. But at any rate, Rupert comes back, has a whole plot to take over the kingdom again by combining people and a chicken with some weapons.
Yeah, he throws them the potion and kicks the dudes into the potion with the weapons, and then they come out transformed into these like mecha steampunk sort of monsters.
It's kind of dope.
It's kind of dope, and I also feel like if I had watched this movie as like an actual child, I would have been scared out of my gourd.
Yeah, I definitely remember being frightened by that.
I was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I also remember distinctly
so
the part where
Kaylee
they bring
rides
her
off to
body back. Sorry, that was very.
No, please go.
Oh God, it's so sad.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. That is a scene that is storyboarded masterfully because you are in her perspective as this child looking up at all of these men on horseback, and it's amazing.
As they look down at her, like with pity, clear, just
I don't know what to say to this kid.
And she's looking up like, oh, which one of you is my dad? And then like a cart pulls up with her dad's body on it.
It's so sad.
And it's like all misty and like hard to see. And then she just like runs. She just like runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rupert comes back, does his big plot thing. Kaylee, her mom's like, go run to Camelot, warn the king that they're gonna like try to come fuck shit up. But she overhears that also Rupert has tried to steal Excalibur, and it has been dropped in this, forbidden forest. So she's like, no, I'm gonna go get the king's sword first, because that is also important, and I'm gonna do that on my way. And she meets this guy named Gareth, whom I love, who is I am a sighted person, so I can't speak personally, but reads to me, at least, especially for the 90s, is pretty good blind representation. Some pretty pretty good stuff. And he wanted to be a knight, but after he lost his vision, was like, it's never going to happen, and gave up on it and went to go be a hermit in the forest. And the two of them have adventures, and at the end, they defeat Rupert and become knights together. And it's dope.
They meet on the way. They meet a very important character who I'll get to later in my notes.
Yes.
My next note after how did he get this technology was, oh no, he's hot, which is, I think, from Kaylee's perspective, meeting Gareth, where she's like fallen into the forbidden forest. It's like, I've just been saved by this hermit who's, oh no, he sounds like Cary Elwes and he's very hot. And now he's singing. Nice note.
He's singing his whole song that is effectively about being an introvert, and I love that for him.
Yeah, but he has a reprise later where you realize it's not like his independence has become isolation.
Yeah. Oh, well put.
And it's really sad.
It's like, I can fix him.
She's like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Always nice to put a taxi. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. I was gonna say what specifically reads, and it first shows up in that scene as good blind representation to me from what I have, read and been told about what good representation looks like, is that we see him with a cane interacting with his environment, and we see him fully capable, alarmingly good at navigating the forest. He's spent so long here that he can get around all of these things, and there's some great comedic shots of Kaylee setting off little forest traps and him like sighing and dealing with it.
Yeah, she's like, this isn't so bad.
But there's never... Yeah, but there's not a point there. He remains sightless for the movie. There's not like some magic cure or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, nope, this is a part of who I am, and I am a fully functional and excellent person, and here I go, and I'm gonna go kick some ass about it.
It rips.
Anyway, you were going
I was
to say,
gonna
Helena.
say it's always nice to put a Taxi Driver reference in your children's cartoon. There are a few references in here where I was like, huh. Sure did put that in there. There's a point where the chicken says, are you looking at me? To a bunch of eye stalks. That's what I was referring to. I was like, interesting.
Also a Dirty Harry moment.
Yeah.
Yes, the chicken specifically, the like comedy relief chicken.
Who somehow
specifically has multiple adult movie references, which is really funny.
A chicken gets thrown into the potion and gets combined with an axe and becomes the character of Bladebeak, which is dope. Somehow combining chicken plus axe gives human level intelligence and ability to speak.
Yeah, and now your voice.
He then loses when he gets uncoupled from the axe.
My favorite reference, however, was the Young Frankenstein reference when Rupert and his goons are in the ogre cave, and he says, "Walk this way," and then they all start walking like him, and I was like, that was completely unnecessary, but thank you for that.
So delightful.
I have a question, which is, I obviously watched plenty of 90s cartoons when I was a child in the 1990s, but I don't remember the specifics of them very well. Were there always that many jokes about airplanes?
I don't know, but there were an awful lot of them in this movie.
There's a lot of jokes about, like, airplanes.
Okay,
I think there's a couple of... I think that's not super unusual, but I think part of the goof is that the dragons have, like, surprisingly modern sensibilities that don't make sense for the time period. So it's funny that they can't fly, and they're making references to flying on an airplane. And two, they are the ones making the joke. If anyone else was making it, it wouldn't be funny, but that's part of their
Gareth,
shtick.
actually says, I hate flying coach.
Yeah.
This is what the 90s were like? I don't remember. I was this giant.
Kind of.
I think, honestly, there is a little bit. I do recall as a child being, like...
A lot of airplane humor.
Because I think there was a weird, like... I think that was kind of
You ever notice how food tastes bad on airplane?
Yeah, exactly.
General tenor.
I will say about the, like... the dragons and the being kind of displaced in time, I think that's a big trope of the period. I think it calls back actually a little bit to Merlin and the Stone, where the way they play off his knowledge of time is that he can kind of zap around wherever and knows about all of these future inventions in a kooky way. But I think the other big example that comes to mind for me is the genie, and the way the genie in Aladdin breaks the fourth wall so often to talk about contemporary things. And I think it comes up in other stuff too, but that's the big example.
Well, that's interesting because, and I'll get just a small tangent. Robin Williams as the genie was the first time that they had brought in like a big name to voice a Disney character, especially like a sidekick character. So a lot of that was just like, hey, Robin, do whatever. Here's a script, but like
do Robin Williams.
And he was just
thank you for being here.
Just adding in a lot of the, like when he just randomly does the Rodney Dangerfield impression, and then they animated him to look like Rodney Dangerfield or Jack Nicholson when he was doing impressions. Like, I think he was the model for that, because before that you didn't really see a lot of big name celebrity voices in cartoons, and then it became a good trend after that. So I think there was a whole, I mean, we're still kind of in it, but especially during the 90s and 2000s, that whole trend of like sidekick characters voiced by popular comedians, and they have modern references. So I think this was definitely...
Totally.
Even though... So Devon and Cornwall... the two-headed dragon.
Yeah, the dragons.
It's not. I mean, it's Eric Idle and Don Rickles, which is, I mean, voices of our childhood.
Genius.
But like not necessarily contemporary comedians, which is interesting. Even though Don Rickles was Mr. Potato Head, and Eric Idle is eternal. And the note that I wrote down about that was that Devon and Cornwall are that John Mulaney joke about God making 90% of a gay person and then forgetting to turn on the gay switch. Like, the whole thing about Devon and Cornwall is that Devon, which I believe is Eric Idle's dragon head, is gay and Cornwall is straight. I know that's not necessarily what they were saying textually, but it is kind of what they were saying. No, it's basically
the bit.
And
they're the odd couple, right? I mean, they're the odd couple.
I deeply appreciate it. They have the best song, I think, in the movie because it's the only song that has counterpoint in it. It's great. It's a duet. I love them dearly. Those are the friends that they meet along the way. Maybe the real quest for Camelot was the dragons we met along the way.
God, yes.
I did.
They do kiss at one point, which is weird.
It's like,
and then they immediately flip out about it.
Yes. Yeah, they're like, oh no. I mean, it's kind of a Luke and Leia moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always bring it back to Star Wars.
Though, to be fair, they do have the chance to, like, when the sword goes back in the stone and there's just, like, waves of like, I don't know, somebody rolled on the wild magic surge table. They, like, get separated and then they panic.
Yeah, they're like, no, actually, I don't know what I would do without you.
And then it goes again and they smack.
It's me and Maddie.
Which is quite sweet.
Aww.
That's gay.
Wait, hang on. Out of the four of us, this is the two of you are the two-headed dragon. Madeline is Kaylee and I'm Garrett.
So you guys...
I think probably...
I think that I'm Cornwall.
Yeah, you are for sure.
Yeah.
No, you hand me the skull of our Uncle York, so I get the Alas Poor York reference. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
They did steal. They have a whole thing. Kaylee and this is my last note. Besides, it whips that she gets knighted.
No, please.
But where she said, like, their whole love song, Gareth and Kaylee's love song, is so obviously inspired by "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" Like, it has. They're by the lake and they have the song, and then there's the two sidekicks off to the side who are crying. And then they have the moment where, like, I think Aiden, the falcon, like, takes some water in the air and spins it around them or something. And that is straight the fuck out of...
exactly.
Yeah, it's the same exact moment from Little Mermaid.
Yes, they do it in the 3, like, rings of Camelot, which I think is very funny, that, like, Camelot approves of this union.
Leave room for Camelot.
This is a Camelot sanctioned union.
Well, and then going back Merlin.
Oh God, Ruber's villain song is also very clearly inspired by Be Prepared from The Lion King. The lighting, that very like neon, sickly green.
The other thing that it really pinged for me was the animated Anastasia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big fucking Rasputin vibes.
Yes. That was actually my
those little dancing spirits.
Believe it or not, that was my first choose your fighter joke that I was gonna put in, was like Scar and Rupert and Rasputin.
Oh my god. I love
think
you.
Anastasia came out just a year before this or the year after this, one of the two. So
I will say regarding Quest for Camelot, I think, like, the strongest songs of that movie are the ones that do not clearly reference something else. Like, the ones that do are, like, kind of forgettable. The ones that don't are the ones that, like, slap the hardest.
Agreed. Yeah, Garrett's song about I can handle my own shit, and then Kaylee's song
like
about
Fly on
her
My
dad.
Father's Wings.
Yeah.
The two dragons, their duet, the song at the beginning about I love my boys so much and I love working for King Arthur.
I love my boys so much and I love working for King Arthur.
Can you imagine liking your workplace so much that you and your coworkers want to sing a song about
boys
your
sing
job?
a song about it? Yeah, truth.
We should all be so lucky.
Justice. Amazon.
Boys.
and Gareth's reprise of I Stand Alone is incredible.
Yeah. I love a reprise that turns the emotional so very much.
He says the exact same words, but the tone is so different.
Yeah, it's beautifully done.
Where like I share my world with no one else goes from like this is something that I have for me and turns into like I don't have anyone.
Ugh, it's so good.
It's good as fuck.
Maddie, you and I watched this together maybe a month ago, and we were both saying afterwards that this was kind of the thing, or at least one of the big things that got us into Arthuriana as kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I don't remember really watching anything else that was like Arthurian related, but I think I had like the Wanted Future King, and I read some of it. I don't remember like what else that I was like consuming as a kid that like would have got me into this kind of stuff, but like I was real fucking into it.
Oh yeah,
so much that it's like now I've like worked it into our Monster of the Week game.
Yeah, oh, and it's dope as hell.
Whips so hard. Thank you again for how cool that was.
So good.
Yes, it was so funny because like a year and a half ago, you made up a character for a side game, and you brought this in, and I had already created that plot point.
That's so good.
And I was like, shit, our plot points conflict. Oh. So I have figured out a way to make it work, and I'm glad it came up then. But at the moment, I was like, oh, of course we came up with the same fucking thing, didn't we?
God, that's so dope.
It does happen from time to time.
Yeah.
The other big thing that got me into Arthuriana as a kid, and this is a book series, but just shout out to Gerald Morris for the series of kind of Arthuriana middle grade books that he did. I remember really clearly The Squire, His Knight, and His Lady, but I think that might actually be... it's the second one. The Squire's Tale, I think, came first. And it's about Sir Gawain's squire, and it pulls in some... a bunch of Arthurian myth, but also pulls in some like the fair folk mythos kind of stuff and leans into that, which is occasionally comes up in Arthurian lore because also goes back to old Celtic and old Welsh stuff. But dope series.
I should read those. So I did want to talk. We don't need to talk about Legend of the Sword. We've already said all that there needs to be said. Jude Law is sexy and the soundtrack's good. Oh, David Beckham has a bit part in it. Crazy.
Wild.
But I want to talk, I guess, have none of you seen this King Arthur, the 2004 one?
No, I tried to rent it today, but they didn't have it.
I've seen it a long time ago.
I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I'll talk about it vaguely because, like,
please.
It was very enjoyable. So as I mentioned before, the idea is that King Arthur is the son of a native Briton woman and a Roman. His dad married his mom, like was in love with her, married her, and he ends up becoming commander of like what eventually, like 15 years down the line, becomes the last Roman base in Britain. And the movie starts off with when the Romans invaded, they, like, made this pact to, like, absorb a bunch of the men into their ranks, but the issue is the pact went on to, like, their sons and their sons' sons. So they would, like, go around and, like, grab a bunch of, like, sons, basically, from, like, native settlements and bring them back to serve at the command posts. So we get that scene. And you see Arthur talking with a Roman soldier who is like, Arthur, you need to be, they are your equals, and you need to understand as a commander that their lives are more important than yours. And Arthur's like, well, what about their free will? What about their freedom? And he's like, that is something that unfortunately we can't do anything about right now, which... But he's like, but the idea is that you should strive to do that. You should strive to get them that. And then we flash forward 15 years later, because the idea is their term of service is 15 years. And we flash forward to their last day of working in servitude as knights to Arthur. But it becomes clear that, like, although they do not want to do this anymore, like, they don't want to fight for Rome, they love Arthur and love each other and, like, have formed a bond. Like, they do not begrudge Arthur for the doings of Rome, and, like, Arthur also, they talk a lot about, like, I wish to have our freedom, and they include Arthur in that because they're like, you don't want to be here either. You want to go, like, to Rome. Like, you hate what you do. Which I thought was very sweet, that, like, their whole concept. And eventually they have to, like, beat it into his head that, like, no, freedom means freedom for all of us, not just for, like, those of us who were taken from our homes. That includes you, because you are not free either. I do love that. And then the bishop who's bringing their pardon so they can travel through the Roman Empire and do whatever they want, is like, by the way, we have literally one last thing for you guys to do, and also it's like a death mission. Oh
boys.
Yeah, so they have to go. There's 8 of them total. There's 7 knights in Arthur. Which features, like, Hugh Dancy is one of the knights, Mads Mikkelsen is one of the knights.
Is that Hugh Dancy Tristan, or is that somebody else?
No, Mads Mikkelsen is Tristan.
Oh, that's right.
Hugh Dancy is Galahad.
Ah, yes, the pretty one.
Their first on-screen flirtationship. I remember that.
Yeah. They actually don't interact very much. Arthur talks to Tristan a lot. Like, he talks to Lancelot a lot, obviously, that is not shocking. There's a knight that's Bors. He talks to him a lot. He's got like 12. This guy's got like 12 kids. He's like married a woman there, or not married, but he like has a woman. And then so there's Gawain and Galahad, and he talks to Tristan a lot because Tristan is their like forward scout. He is a hawk. He's like their bow guy. So yeah, they have to travel, and they have been fighting with I forget the name of what they call the people, but it is like native Britons who are trying to like overthrow Roman rule, who are led by Merlin.
Oh, interesting.
And they have to go through their lands to get to this Roman encampment that is important to the Pope to save this family. And coming the opposite direction from the north are the Saxons. Coming to take that encampment. Yeah. And so not only is it like, this is our last mission, we're probably going to die, but also the Romans have decided that this last place that they're holding isn't worth it anymore, and the Romans are going to pull out of Britain. And that is why the Saxons are coming in to overthrow it. So that's the setup for this movie.
Holy shit, that's dope. I need to rewatch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah, I have the director's cut, so if anybody wants to watch it, let me know. I would be happy to watch it again.
I would love to. Yeah, Haley has it on DVD, but we haven't, had a chance to be in the same place in person for a year.
A minute. Yeah, give me a moment to pull up the IMDb really quick. Because there's some interesting hits of the cast.
While you pull it up, I had a thought. If I may, while you pull it up, I had a thought while you were talking, which was that to return to our very early point of Arthuriana is queer for a lot of reasons. I genuinely think another one of them is that the Knights of the Round Table are an OG found family, and that the found family trope is inherently queer in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I would co-sign that.
That's true.
Yes. There's a lot of especially in this interpretation, because the Legend of the Sword interpretation does not have that at fucking all. That's because the idea is, it has a little bit of it actually with Arthur and a couple of his original boys that he grew up with. But otherwise the idea is that movie is the creation, Arthur taking the throne. And this movie actually is too, but in a very different way. That Arthur already has command. Whereas this Arthur, grew up in Legend of the Sword, Arthur grew up in a brothel and, is a minor crime lord.
He's a Guy Ritchie character.
So very...
because he's a Guy Ritchie protagonist.
He's a Yes.
Which, I kind of want to make a sort of, jokey comment, but not entirely joking about, Guy Ritchie is a certain kind of self-mythologizing, concept of Britain. Something, him doing, fucking King Arthur, but it's But I'm gonna filter it through my, like, take on British working class masculinity.
The same, just basically making Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels over and over again.
Yeah. Well, and then, but somehow sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Until I die. So we've got Keira Knightley plays Guinevere, and the idea is that Guinevere is actually like part of the like rebellious like British forces that they run into at some point. She's like working with Merlin, and it's very fun to see her like angry and like self-righteous and like fucking laying into Arthur.
I think that they're.
I love when people like Guinevere have personality.
Yeah,
I love a Guinevere with personality.
Yeah, she's really good.
I think they're the Celts. Because I'm thinking, and back also partly because of Arthurian.
They do not call them that, but that would not surprise me. That is what they're supposed to be.
That's what they're supposed to be, and just because like I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong for the people who do know Arthuriana, Guinevere is traditionally like a Welsh princess of some kind or of Welsh background, as opposed to sorry, go ahead.
Basically, yes. I mean, the mythology in general so much comes from that then I feel like
because Arthur is sometimes like Roman or of Rome, like Uther is of Roman background, and so sometimes he's like Roman but also raised Welsh, and Merlin is like. I think of Crystal Cave, I guess. Like, Merlin is a combined, like, Celtic and Roman ancestry. And, like, Guinevere specifically is, like... I mean, it's in the name. Like, she's, like... Oh, she's Welsh, I think. So I believe... I'm pretty sure. But anyway.
That would not surprise me if that is what they were trying to reference. That's not what they say, but I think that's what they were trying to do. So we've got her as Guinevere. Stellan Skarsgård is the villain, who they don't actually say his name, I realized, but that's why it took me so long to recognize that's what the character is, because he's got a big fucking beard, and he plays it so well. He's like that very like quiet, centered, like soft-spoken kind of villain, but not like in a like polite way, but in a like I couldn't give less of a shit about you in your life kind of way. It's incredible. He does a great job. I really fucking enjoyed it. I had a really good time. There were moments where I was like yelling at my screen like, no! Like I grew to care about all of the knights also, which I think is hard to do when you've got that many dudes that are kind of
yeah, that's impressive.
That are just
vying for the spotlight.
Just like, some guy, yeah.
Yeah, Gawain and Galahad, so Joel Egerton and Hugh Dancy, I think probably they have like the least amount of screen time. They get some stuff right at the beginning to kind of set up like this is who these guys are. They kind of get the like those two guys treatment. They're just kind of always paired off together. But like they are still like interesting and compelling. I was really surprised that Mads Mikkelsen got as much screen time as he did, but he ended up being one of the more important knights.
Yeah, I believe that was like the first thing that my dad and I ever saw Mads Mikkelsen in was this King Arthur movie.
Oh, wild.
We were really excited when we saw Casino Royale. I was like, it's the guy from King Arthur.
Yeah, he's. I mean, obviously Mads Mikkelsen is just fucking phenomenal, but he does a great job. Also, his character is always like my favorite kind of character, the like guy who's really good with a bow in like completely inexplicable ways.
Yeah.
Love that for him. Yeah, I like can't talk about it too much more, I feel like, without getting like too deep into the meat of it. But I thought it was definitely worth the watch.
Though.
I do appreciate that
awesome.
like casting. I mean, Hugh Dancy is very pretty. And I've always really loved. What?
Has Hugh Dancy ever played Colin Firth's son or younger brother?
I don't think so.
Because I just feel like it's right there, you know?
I think we're very close to that possibility. I feel like it
just
can
feels
happen.
right there.
It's definitely not.
Sorry, I interrupted you though.
I was trying to remember. I appreciate like one of the things I love about Monty Python and the Holy Grail and Monty Python in general is that they cast Michael Palin as Sir Galahad, Sir Galahad the Chaste. Which I think is, so he's like canonically Galahad is the most handsome knight, which I deeply, deeply appreciate.
He don't fuck.
As somebody who kind of has a crush on Michael Palin in a sort of less like, well, what can you do kind of way. I really appreciate that they cast him as Galahad. They're like, you're just easily, I mean, look at us, you're easily the most handsome among us, so let's just go with that. You're Galahad. Awesome. Graham, you rule. You're King Arthur, obviously. And I will play 10 other characters.
Yeah.
Yup.
As it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
We talked. Yeah. Any final notes?
I'm just kind of I was thinking about like, I feel all of us kind of independently had a King Arthur phase as like I mean, kids. And I was just kind of thinking about why, and I feel like there was this sort of like, there was a fair amount of like, the like Celtic neo-paganism thing got pretty big in like the 90s. Mm-hmm. And I think that there was a lot of like kind of, that was like an angle that white feminism got kind of into in certain circles. And then I think you just ended up with a lot of that kind of bled over into a lot of people like wanting to
just culturally.
Just culturally, but also like specifically a lot of people writing like middle grade. Because I mean, especially me, like I was born in 1991 and kind of grew up slightly before the like young adult literature boom, but there was just a lot of like middle grade fantasy that drew on those kind of like myths and legends of the British Isles kind of stuff. And so I feel like I was just like that was a lot of the fantasy I was consuming owed a lot to those, not necessarily those traditions, but probably more the like fucking, or like it kind of pre-Victorian like revival of interest in that kind of stuff, and like the neo-druidic movements. Did a whole bunch of Googling on that shit a while back because I was curious.
Nice.
But yeah, and then there was sort of like a fair number of them were like girl with sword, like girl becomes knight, and
I love that genre.
Yeah, there were a lot of like reimaginings of that where it was like, well, what if we took this same kind of basic story of a young man like wanting to prove himself in the eyes of a like good and worthy king or whatever, and was like, okay, but what if that was a girl? And I just obviously went apeshit for that stuff.
Ditto.
But also I checked, and there absolutely is a Wishbone episode version of a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court.
Oh my god, I knew.
Which was what
I
was remembering. And I couldn't. I was I was like, okay, what am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? Motherfucking Wishbone.
Mother of God.
It got me again.
I love that dog. Oh, he's so good. Wishbone I know so much classic literature because of him.
That was my intro to a bunch
Genuinely.
of stuff. The note that I personally want to end this on is a shout out to my beloved mom, who had absolutely no way to reasonably like keep track of the age appropriate content of what I was reading once I got turned loose on the adult sci-fi fantasy section, but very specifically banned me from reading The Mists of Avalon for a really long time because she was like,
foresight,
that book is too horny for my like 10-year-old child, which is correct.
I don't want to bring up her bullshit on this podcast. I'll just say foresight. Obviously. Google her.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but obviously my mom didn't know that at the time either. Cause,
of course not.
It was just
it is. I've read it. It is incredibly horny.
Yeah, it is very, very horny. But I remember when I finally...
I also had a copy of Mists of Avalon that I never read, and I'm like, oh man, I dodged a bullet there, huh?
Yeah, you really did. But I remember when my mom was like, okay, you can read The Mists of Avalon now. Presumably, I think I had like basic sex ed or whatever, and it was like, now you can have The Mists of Avalon. And I remember finally reading it and thinking, this is substantially less horny than some of the stuff that I have accidentally already run across because I've been reading a lot of sort of B-grade adult fantasy that was like 80s girl power fantasies, because a lot of the protagonists of those 80s like kind of shitty fantasy novels are young, inexperienced men who like are mentored by badass women, both in terms of like the like political and like world or magic or whatever, and sex.
Fuck yes.
And I was just like,
honestly here for it.
Interesting. I was expecting this to be a lot more like this was the forbidden fruit, and I finally got it. And
I
it
bet
was
it's
like
the incest thing.
You know, yeah, it's probably the incest thing. I forgot that's
the first book is very heavily from Morgana's point of view, and there's the moment she realizes, if I recall correctly, basically post-coitus, that Arthur is her brother, and there's this like horrifying realization moment.
They're part of like it's a sacred, it's like a fertility ritual thing, so it's like a symbolic thing.
Yes.
And then it's like shit.
Oh, interesting. In Crystal Cave, she does it on, not in Crystal Cave, but in The Last Enchantment, she does it on purpose. Of course, because women are evil.
Well, they're not always... Right. Often that's the take on her. She's not always his half-sister either, though.
Yeah,
like,
that's
there's
true.
sometimes she's a different... Yeah.
Maddie, you said in the Discord that you had a thought that hit you like a freight train?
Yeah.
Yes, I remembered that one of the things I read in like high school, early college, I was really into Meg Cabot for a while there.
Yes!
She wrote a series that's called Avalon High.
Yes! She sure did.
And like that book I only read the first one, but that book stuck with me so strongly. There's there's specifically a line that I've never forgotten. It's the last line that like she's talking about, like, I guess spoilers for Avalon High. All of the characters correlate. All the characters correlate to different characters from Arthurian legend, and the protagonist ends up being the Lady of the Lake. And it was in the Legend of Camelot, the Lady of the Lake didn't just bring Arthur the sword; she performed one other service for him too. When it was all over, she brought him home to Avalon. Oh. And like, when it was all over, she brought him home to Avalon has stuck in my head for fucking ever.
Actually,
and has become like.
Heart.
I'm really glad you brought that up because that book whips.
It whips so hard, and I want to read it again.
They did a shitty like Disney Channel adaptation, which does not live up to twists and turns that I went through realizing
how hard. Yeah.
Like, at the beginning of the novel, she's floating in her parents' pool, and you're like, oh shit, she's the Lady of the Lake. Like,
yeah, because the idea is that at first they think that she's the Lady of Shalott, which also, that book introduced me to that poem and that character from Legend, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my final thought, is like, oh, that was also another influential Arthurian thing, was like, this story about, like, these different these, like, teenagers who were thrust into this kind of, like, cyclical Arthurian legend, which, like, wow, that explains where I got the idea for Monster of the Week from. I made mine gay and sad, but, like...
Which is always better.
Yeah. I also have a book sitting in my room right now that's called, like, The Once and Future King, that's, like, space Arthurian, that is also, like, cyclical Arthurian legends, but, like, Arthur is a woman. I think it's queer. I don't know. I need to read it.
Yeah, you should, if it's good, you should let everybody know.
I'll find it.
I did not care for it. I will be really curious to hear what you think. I had very specific things that kind of turned me off of it. I think the concept is very dope, and they're both good writers. There were just some specific things that did not work for me. I
trust your judgment, but I will start reading it, and we could confer.
I mean, yeah, like if it's like specific pet peeves, so you know, who knows? Maybe it's just a me problem.
I think
who knows, but yeah,
it just made me think of two things. One, well, my first thought was off of Z's thing about the Wishbone series, which is completely unrelated to anything having to do with King Arthur. But when I was growing up, I had a novelization, of the Wishbone episode of Sleepy Hollow. Don't really know how that works.
Of course you did,
but it was good. And second thing is that the Lady of Shalott part of Avalon High also reminded me in A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray, which is not really influenced by Arthurian legend very much at all, but always incorporates some kind of poem or poetry of the Romantic era in kind of not so much in its plot, but in she's very clearly influenced by various poetry of the time period when writing these books, which are set in the Edwardian time period. Edwardian, late Victorian Edwardian, and the poem Lady of Shalott is, I think, prefaces A Great and Terrible Beauty and comes back frequently. They study it in the book, and they talk about because she's a doomed woman, and it's this, they're all trapped in a boarding school to, be refined in order to be married off, and there's this connection between the two between them and the Lady of Shalott of being perpetually doomed, which is kind of how the story goes. But anyway, those are just, not really final concluding thoughts about King Arthur, but in a way how it's just like weaves into fucking everything in a really great way. I think it's really really dope story.
That's kind of my final thought is I think the way Arthurian myth weaves its way into everything sort of maybe comes at least partially from the way that there's a little bit of everything in Arthurian myth. I wonder if that's some of why it's stuck, is that there's, it's coming from these stories that were very important to the original people at the original time, and then throughout history, it's been different aspects have been played up by different people and different cultures who needed different things at different times. The French romances really pulling on Guinevere and Lancelot, and other time periods pulling on different things and different bits and pieces. And I think there's just so many so many things that become tropes because of Arthurian legend that you can just call back to and connect to. And for me, that that leader with a heart of goodness is something that I really want to believe can exist.
Yeah, but that's really interesting.
There's something about that.
A lot of, and I promise this will be the last thing I say, is a lot of the reason for staying in the Merlin fandom and continuing to watch BBC Merlin was that some of the fan fiction that did come out of it was quite enjoyable. And I think
golden.
So that's I have a work in progress in the sense that I have not started it at all. Except in bits and pieces, idea for a fanfic, and that I was always really interested in the way that the Merlin series ended, that it went with the idea of, Arthur's there, but he's going to return at the time when Albion needs him most, that traditional Jesus narrative, which is cropped up from time and again, and I'm really interested in what that means and how different people would interpret that, because there's a way that you can read that comes across as very nationalistic and very and in this time especially very Britain first, and I think a lot of people would take it that way. So I think that is obviously not the way that I would want to interpret it. So I'm curious in how different people at different times have, as you said, been in conversation with that narrative, and how, what does this king figure mean? How can we use him to communicate what we believe to be important? Truth, justice, liberty, etc.
Yes.
Boys night. Unions, the 3 rings of Camelot, unions, healthcare, and, severance packages.
ACAB.
Anyway, Stan King Arthur. Oh, you bought it. I'm so happy for you, Maddie.
Yeah, I just bought myself a copy of Avalon High as well as some coffee I needed to buy. So I was like, I gotta buy this stuff anyway. Might as well throw myself a little copy of Avalon High in there. Because my copy that I bought so I originally read it from the library and then bought it again when I went away to college. And then I lost it in the Great Roommate Trash Fire, and it's I don't have it anymore. Might as well buy it again.
That's a good idea. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Miss Cabot, I'm grateful to you.
Thank you for all you have done for me. Yeah.
She's so good.
She's so good. We
that
stand.
Ghost romance.
She knew what she was about.
Do not.
Oh, the Ghost romance series. I'll hook you up later. It's very good.
Thank you. Helena, you want to take us away?
Yeah, I'll take us away. I'll take us out.
I added a comment right above that. I hope you can see it.
I saw that. When is Geofor going to play King Arthur? That's a very, very good question.
I just literally
ideally question.
He's anyway.
Okay,
he is my absolute
I know we've
ideal.
talked. Yes, we talked about our boy, friend of the show, Sean Bean, playing Arthur, but let me hit you with this. Instead, he's playing Lancelot.
Yes!
Ooh, that is very good.
Oh god, I'm really sorry for the spike in my audio there.
It will be really sexy before I take us out, like permanently and forever take us out.
Yeah.
Older Arthur and older Lancelot, so we got if Sean Bean is in his 50s, having also, I know they would never do this because Hollywood, but having Guinevere, who is also at least in her 40s or 50s.
Yes, please.
And having middle-aged Lancelot and Guinevere and Arthur. Okay,
in my ideal world, this ends with all three of them kissing.
Yes.
But
I mean,
that's optional.
Yeah.
They've all got two hands.
Everybody has two hands. Middle-aged poly triad there.
Yes.
They have rights.
Yeah.
Can I just say that before you take us all out permanently for good and end us, Helena, let me just say again, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been an absolute delight.
I'm so happy
for coming
you
back
on.
Madeline.
We love you.
Pleasure to have you.
I love you guys. It's always a pleasure to be here and just to listen and love the show. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you can follow Madeline. Where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Madeline Just Say. Madeline only has 2 E's in it, not like that French nonsense.
All right, folks. I'll take us out, Franz Ferdinand style. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our super... did I do it again? Our snooper Snazzy? Yeah.
No,
yeah, our super...
No, you psyched yourself out.
Yeah.
You didn't fuck up, and then you were like, oh, did I fuck up?
I could feel it happening. I could feel my brain wanting to do it, and then I did it a second time. Wow. All right. Well, anyway, our super snazzy logo, we need to change that sentence so I don't keep doing that.
You say that every time, and you've never changed it.
Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. Check her out at bethanyluthold.wixsite.net. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or if you have any bets on when Gawain the Green Knight will actually come out, it's going to be July 2021, knock on wood. Come say hello. Also, if you can, please leave a review on iTunes and share the show with any friends who you would think would enjoy it. And as always, thanks for listening. Read Avalon High by Meg Caput, and we'll see you at the movies.
Exquisite.
Thank you.